All right, let's talk about the Agent Development Kit, or as you'll probably hear me call it, the ADK. Now, this thing is an absolute beast of a toolkit for any developer looking to build some seriously smart AI agents. And we're going to tackle this by following a developer's journey, from that very first blank file all the way to a live, deployed app.
Okay, so take a look at this. This image is basically the map for our whole journey. It gives you this fantastic high-level view of everything the ADK offers. You can see on the left, we've got the core building blocks, the agents and tools. Then you move across to the support stuff like debugging and memory, and it all ends up on the right with deployment. So right off the bat, you can tell this isn't just some simple library, right? It's the whole shebang, a full cycle platform.
So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this just like a developer would. First, what even is the ADK? Then we'll build our first agent, see how to make them work together in a team, get into the nitty-gritty of testing and debugging, and finally, we go live. All right, first things first, let's build an agent. To get started, you just have to wrap your head around two main ideas, and they're the absolute foundation of everything in the ADK. You've got your agents, and then you've got the tools that let those agents actually do stuff. Okay, so the agent is the star of the show here, and the ADK gives you three main flavors to choose from. You've got your LLM-based agents. These are the thinkers, the ones that do all the heavy lifting with reasoning. Then you've got workflow agents, which are all about controlling a process. And finally, for those times when you need something totally unique, there are custom agents where you can build your own logic from the ground up. And this table here, it's super helpful for figuring out which agent to use and when. It really breaks it down nicely. Basically, think of it like this. Need something flexible that can reason its way through a problem? Go with an LLM agent. Need something that follows a strict, predictable set of steps? That's a job for a workflow agent. And if neither of those quite fit, well, that's what the custom agent is for.
But here's the thing. Agents aren't just about thinking. They need to do things. And that's where tools come in. Tools are basically their superpowers. It's how they connect to the real world, whether that's searching for information, pulling data from an API, or interacting with another service.
A great example of this is the code execution tool that's built right in. This is so cool. It literally lets your agent act like a mini programmer. It can spin up and run a bit of Python code on the fly to do a quick calculation or figure out something that's just way easier to solve with logic than with words. Okay, so here's where things get really interesting. You almost never use just one agent by itself. The real magic happens when you start creating multi-agent systems. The best way to think about this is like building a project team. Each agent has its own special job, and they all work together. So if your agents are a team, then the app class, that's your project manager. It's this top-level thing that holds everything together. It handles all the configuration, manages the state, and basically oversees the entire workflow from start to finish. It's what keeps the whole operation organized. And check out how simple this is in the code. Seriously, you just define your main agent. We call that the root agent, kind of like the team lead. And then you wrap it up in this app object. That's it. That app object is now your single point of control for the entire system.
So a good question is, how do all these team members talk to each other, especially if they're not even running in the same place? Well, that's what the agent-to-agent protocol, or A2A, is for. It's basically a common language that lets agents collaborate, pass tasks back and forth, and work together like a well-oiled machine, no matter where they're located.
Okay, so you've got your team of agents all designed. Now comes, honestly, the most crucial part of the whole process, the development loop. This is where you run, you debug, and you build in resilience. You just keep iterating until it's rock solid. So now we're in this local run and debug stage. This is where the real work happens, right? It's this constant cycle of testing things out, seeing what breaks, fixing it, and refining the agent's behavior over and over again until it's perfect. But let's be real, one of the hardest things with these complex AI systems is figuring out what on earth they're thinking. When something goes wrong, how do you actually debug its reasoning? How do you peek inside its mind to see the logic? The answer? It's all about good, solid logging. The ADK uses Python's standard logging module, which is awesome because it means you get these super detailed diagnostic logs. You can see exactly what's happening under the hood, step by step. And get this, just look at this example. By flipping the log level to debug, you can see the entire full prompt that gets sent to the LLM. I mean, everything. The system instructions, the chat history, what tools it knows about. It's a lifesaver for debugging. Absolutely invaluable. Okay, but what if something goes wrong during a really long process?
like the network hiccups or a server just gives up. You don't want to start all over again, right? That's where resumability comes into play. It's this killer feature that lets your agent just pick up right where it left off after an interruption.
And the best part? Turning it on is ridiculously easy. You just add this little configuration setting to your app object. You literally just say, is resumable equals true, and boom, the ADK takes care of all the background work, tracking the state so it can resume perfectly. All right, we have made it to the final step. And this is the exciting part. We're taking our agent, which is now debugged, polished, and resilient, and we're deploying it. We're going live. Deploying this thing to the Google Cloud Agent Engine is actually a super straightforward 3-step deal. As long as your cloud project is ready to go, the ADK's command line tools pretty much do all the heavy lifting for you. Now, the one key piece of info you're going to need is your project ID. You can find it right there on your Google Cloud dashboard. That little string of characters is what links your deployment to the right project, telling the ADK exactly where your agent should live. And once that deployment is done, congratulations, your agent is officially live. It's running in the cloud, and it has its own API endpoint. You can now plug it into other apps or just start interacting with it directly through something like the Vertex AI SDK for Python.
So there you have it. That's the entire developer's journey, from a completely blank file to a fully deployed AI agents. We've seen how the ADK gives you the tools for every single step along the way. So now that you have the map, what are you going to build?